In my, all right, so can you see this?
Yes.
All right. I've been analyzing a lot of deals lately, and guys, I wanted to kind of go over this video, do this video real quick, real impromptu. I thought I'd throw a board up so that you can understand what I see as a flipper, as a general contractor, and even as someone who knows how to fund deals, who can fund deals, because quite frankly, the wholesalers that I meet online, the wholesalers that I've met in local RIAs. Let me think. Facebook is one. Facebook. I can't write right now, but Facebook was another one. I need to get a new blue marker. My blue marker's about had it, but Facebook is one. All the wholesalers on Facebook need to probably pay attention to this video. If you think that if you want to get in real estate, if you want to survive in the business, and if you want your deals to have stand a chance of getting sold and to have keep credibility, then you should actually pay attention to this video. By the way, in case you don't know, my name is David Berry. I'm a real estate investor just like you. I've been in the real estate industry, let's see, I'm 45 years old. I've been in the real estate business for the majority of my life. I'm a licensed insurance agent, have been for the last 22 years, so I insure all of my own deals. I find my own deals. I also have my own brokerage, Southwest Capital Funding, and so I can even fund my deals at 100% as long as they follow under the lender's guidelines. And that actually brings me to what I want to talk about today is what things the wholesalers are not paying attention to, or what mistakes are wholesalers making, and while they try to sell their stuff on places like Facebook and LinkedIn. I've even seen some stuff just email and at the RIAs. Paul is here and he's holding the camera. I want to thank you, by the way. But Paul can attest to the fact that one of the things that I notice is that wholesalers in general are getting it wrong.
Exactly. They're trying way too hard to make too much money themselves.
They're trying to make too much money themselves. So, and I've yet to release the podcast, but I had to record this because I personally thought, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong as an investor. Maybe 40 years with a general contractor in my back pocket that I call dad. Maybe the 45 years that I've been, with my grandfather who owns apartment complexes and over 50 rental properties at his retirement age of 86 years old. Maybe those guys don't know what they're talking about. Maybe I'm wrong. And so I wanted to make sure before I put this video out about wholesalers in general, because it'll strike some of you the wrong way, because perhaps your deals are going through, but you're not following up with your sellers. I don't know what the case is, but this is what I'm seeing. In general, I'm seeing, and I'm just going to say wholesalers. A wholesaler says, hey, you flip houses? I say, yes. I say, well, email me your deal. So he emails me a deal. And this deal, he says, I got this house and it's a great flip potential. Step number one, if you're a wholesaler, if you tell me something is flip potential, it better be a flip potential. Otherwise, I'm going to be concerned. So, as a flipper, in general, if I'm not using my cash money, and the cheapest I've gotten money from a private investor is 5% on a 6-month deal, or 10% per annum. That's with no origination points. I think that's a sweet deal. The investor wanted to get more. However, I didn't need him anymore. So they emailed me this deal, and we're going to say most hard money private lenders are going to want 10%. Whether that's per annum, whether that's per month, whatever, it's inconsequential. Your money costs 10%. So say you have a $100,000 loan and it's 10% per year. How much is that? $10,000? Mm-hmm. So the cost of your money, the cost of capital is about $10K. That's your cost of capital. So now, with any deal that I do with this formula, if it's a $200,000 deal, I'm just going to add that to it. So we know that my money is going to cost me roughly 10%. Sometimes I can get it less, sometimes it's a little bit more, depends on which lender I use, depends on if I use one of my formulas over here to where I can get 100% financing for anything under 70% of the ARV. So we know that the cost generally for most private lenders is going to be in excess of this 10% that I'm getting. Most private lenders are going to, when you account for the cost, origination, and what have you, you're going to be somewhere in 15% range. So you're going to be somewhere between these two in general for all private money loans, okay? Hard money loans, whatever you want to call it. It'll be somewhere between 10 and 15%. If you're above that, you really need to call me. You really need to reach out and contact me, because this is, every deal we've done, this has fit the deal. Now, what do lenders look for? They look for your ARV, which is substantiated not by the comps you provide, but it's substantiated by the scope of work the individual investor uses and provides to the lender. The appraiser, I lost my train of thought there. The appraiser is going to take your scope of work that you give the hard money lender at 10 to 15%. He's going to combine that and say, let me go look in this house, and if they make these changes, what is this house going to be worth? That's how, at least for me, that's how my deals have worked. Now, if you have a deal that doesn't work like that, I understand. Fill in the comments below. Maybe you can help us do a video and tell us how your money works. Who knows? You might have a great program. But in general, they're going to look at a substantiated ARV, and they're going to say this house is worth $200,000. Now, for 100% of the hard money lenders that I've dealt with, they want you to be 70% of ARV. And that includes all your repairs, all your acquisition, all your costs. So you take the 70% of your ARV and you subtract repairs. And that gives you and this isn't new to anybody, that gives you your MAL, maximum allowable offer. That's the most that you can pay to get to get a property, and including the repairs, and get it financed with hard money. If you go above this, you're bringing money to the table. And in most cases, the lender is not going to do 100% of this anyway. Our lender will. My lender will. My lender will do 100% of it. So that goes without saying. So I'm here to help wholesalers. So what's the problem, David? So yeah, this is the formula that I'm using, David. This is what you're probably saying to yourself. So I know what maximum allowable offer is. I know what that is. You haven't shown me anything new. Okay, this is where the challenge gets in. Everybody knows this. Every real estate seminar that you've ever gone to, you know that if you stay at 70% of the actual after repair value, and you take your repairs off of it, and you get a good maximum allowable offer, and you stay on track, and you do the repairs you say you're going to do, the house passes, and you can finance a deal every day. However, this is what I'm seeing. Most wholesalers, I'm going to start with scenario number one. I don't know how many scenarios I'll come up with, but I'm going to give you a couple of different scenarios. Scenario number one is a house that's only 1,000 square feet. The ARV is 100,000. It's a 3-2. Built 1940 to 1950. The investor says you can get this house for $60K. Okay, so far we're at 60%. Okay, so we only have 10% remaining to do repairs. And so sometimes the investor will try to get smart and say, well, this is a little bitty house. Maybe it's a 500 square foot house, or maybe it's a 700 square foot house, or it's a 2-1. then the wholesaler will say it only needs 10K in repair. This is the first scenario I see. And this, at face value, this fits the model. Well, with the exception of we didn't account for the cost of money. We did not account for the cost of closing. Of course, we're thinking you're going to make somewhere between 20 and 30,000 when you account for the 10% holding cost, hold time, etc. You're going to make probably around $10,000. But this is the number and this number. The year built and the cost of repairs don't add up. They don't add up. And so I would say about 50% of the deals that I see from wholesalers online, especially Facebook, especially the ones that put you on their mail, they have the gigantic mail list, this is what's coming across. The challenge is that a house built in 1940 to 1950 with 1,000 square feet, if I put $3 a foot into paint the interior and the exterior, I've just spent $3,000. If I put $6 a foot into all of the flooring, I've just spent $9,000. Where's my plumbing? Where's my electrical? Where's my roof? Where are the framing problems? Where are all the other things that would come into rehabbing a 1940 to 1950 house?
Well, you got an extra $1,000 for that.
I got $1,000 left over to do something. Right. So the challenge is that as a flipper, as a true rehabber, as someone who actually looks at deals and evaluates deals, I can't find, this guy is not credible because right in here, he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know what he was doing at the valuation. He didn't know what he was doing at the years built because he didn't know what to look for. He just saw old house cheap. He may have gotten it for $30,000, marked it up $20,000. I don't know. I don't know if wholesalers out there, you guys out there, are marking this house up $10,000, $20,000 and saying, well, it's only $50,000. I don't know what you guys are doing, but this deal does not work. And at $60,000 and built in 1940, that deal should look more like a deal that I just closed. And if you want, or that I have in a title company, if you want to look it up, you can look it up. It's 1112 Galloway in Dallas, Texas. So it should look like this. The ARV is somewhere around 200,000. It needs 90 in repairs, and I got it for $50K. Actually, ours was 220. Do numbers. You're at now. What do the numbers say here? What are our numbers?
It's 140,000.
So we're at 140,000. That fit? Does that fit the model? 70% of this? It's about 144, 154,000. I'm just doing the numbers off the top of my head, but I think it's 154,000. Repairs. So if I could, that's where I need to be at 70%. I'm at 140,000 on this deal. So is that below the 70%?
Yes, sir.
So could I get 100% funding on that deal?
Yes.
Could I afford, if this was the deal that the wholesaler brought me, could this wholesaler have afforded to actually put $5,000 or $10,000 in that deal?
Yes.
That's the right deal.
100% funding, including closing.
I agree.
No, just
Now they can't see it on the video, but yeah, it's and we're talking 100% closing costs including funding. So I mean, 100% funding including closing costs. This deal, the person could have even rolled the cost into this deal. I could have even rolled the cost into this deal with it being priced properly if it's in the right neighborhood and it's acquired at the right price. Sales price $50,000, and that's an actual deal. We have 140 into it. It's got a contract for $220,000. I'll take a wholesaler. If a wholesaler marked this up to 55 or even 60, I'd take that all day long. There's plenty of room in that deal for someone to mark this deal up. But the key to it is you got to know your repairs and you got to buy it at the right price. You got to capture the right amount of equity, because if you do this and it's a $100,000 house, doesn't work. And the crazy part is these houses are built at the same time. They're just in different parts of the same city. So the challenge is that when I'm dealing with wholesalers, I have to immediately look at them and go, do they know what they're talking about? Do you know as a wholesaler what you're talking about? So I have to say that the majority of the wholesalers probably don't, because either they don't know what the ARV is in the neighborhood, and so they put the disclaimer, you guys put the disclaimer, says, well, you need to do your own homework. Or you don't know what the repairs are, because we normalize our numbers because we do flips. Our numbers are normalized with our crews, our general contractor. So whenever I do an estimate, my cost is that I put for tearing out a wall is exactly the same cost that would cost me to get Geraldo, our carpenter, get him to do it, to tear that wall out. And so in a nutshell, that's the first thing you need to do is figure out where you're going to get where are these numbers going to come from. Okay. Second scenario. Here was another scenario. Scenario number 2. It was, what was it, 267,000, Paul? About 267,000.
Yes.
And they wanted 189. And it needed, what was it, 60,000
I think
repairs?
60,000 in repairs, yes.
And this one was labeled as possible investment property, had someone living in it for $1,100 a month, and something to that effect. I forget what it was, but and it came off the same Facebook forum.
Right.
This is wholesaler. So then I quickly jump back at this one and say, okay, this is 190,000 plus 160. Plus 60,000. We're at 250.
250, yeah.
Where do we have to be? We have to be at
70%
of this. So we started out in the wrong position. And if this is the wholesale price, and these are repairs that they're estimating, this is a loss.
And they're probably figuring the repairs low.
They're probably figuring the repairs low. You're absolutely right. Most of them do.
Mm-hmm.
I could take this on this deal. The best real estate investor is going to get 7% money, something like that, and put 20% down on an investment property. What do you think, Gary? Is that about what you're seeing?
Yep.
So the best, and you know what? With this current deal, I can get 6.25.
Well, first of all, before you even start, it's the sales price is above 70%.
Sales price is above 70%, so it can't flip it.
You can't. There's no repairs you can put into that.
We can't. So we can put repairs in it, but this is all our money.
Yeah, but then
what's 70% of 267?
186.9.
So they're just above. So this deal is a deal that just wouldn't go at all to any price. And so there's no wonder that this person is shopping this deal on Facebook. They're looking for someone that does not use money or does not care. Even at 3% money, this is still not a good deal. And that's hedge fund money. I can get it financed if I bought it my own money and just said I want to tell a lender that I want to refinance it. I have a lender that if I do the interim with, they will refinance down from the 9.9% hard to a 6.25 30-year fixed. They'll do that, no qualification. That still is too much.
Mm-hmm.
When you do the numbers, you amortize, you do principal, interest, tax, insurance, and it was only getting $1,100 a month, the numbers don't add up. It doesn't amortize. It doesn't work out for this lender, that lender, my lender, or your lender.
They're stealing your money and you don't know it.
So it feels like wholesalers, because they don't understand construction, because they don't understand the cost of money, because they don't understand the real deal, because everybody, let's face it, everybody tells you, start in real estate. Get started by learning to wholesale deals, and you can make a little money. Some people even make, when I started, some people would make between $1,000 and $5,000. Now you guys are getting, I don't know, you guys getting rips of $10,000 and $20,000 and leaving the rest for an investor, if there is any. So my tip for wholesalers, if you ever want to get out of just wholesaling and get into the big money, where you can make $80, $90, or $100,000 a deal, then my number one tip to you is to learn, get with a construction guy, get with a private money lender, a hard money lender. Learn their rules, learn their numbers, normalize everything with them. Because if you can't get into a system and get the right numbers, you'll always sell contracts. And I'm sorry, my real estate deals where I very rarely wholesale anything, but I make a whole lot more money on just knowing the numbers, knowing my lender, knowing my program, knowing my construction, and knowing how to structure a deal. So that's my tip for the day for you wholesalers out there. If you're looking to learn a little bit more, it's more than just MAL. It's more than just flipping contracts. While the seller might not like it, you might. In the end, it's better for you. It's better for the industry. The houses don't sit. The houses get sold. You can develop a book of people that will come to you every single time because they're like, hey, David,
Happy customer.
every time I come to David, he has this scope of work. He has all the stuff that's just lined right up.
Permits pulled.
Well, we're not pulling permits for him. No.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as your work goes, you pull permits.
Well,
for
yeah,
everything.
but that's for the flips. But for wholesaling, if you're trying to get into the real deal, you owe it to yourself to partner with someone who knows what they're doing. Get the training you need to go from just a paper pusher that's selling bad deals that I got to go on Facebook at late at night and worry about whether or not I'm going to have to get past the option period, and whether I'm going to continue to cheerlead on the sidelines, or whether I'm going to get a good deal and make a bunch of money. I'm David Berry with I can't even talk right now. I'm David Berry with Southwest Capital Funding and BT Construction, and look forward to seeing you on the next video.